Coming up on Look Today, well, the Glens Falls Open Door Mission gets approval to start renovations on their new building. I've got details. And we've got an update on the Strand Theater in Hudson Falls. More on that coming up. And New York State now requires schools to test their drinking water for lead contamination. I've got those details. And it's all ahead on Look Today. Welcome everyone, I'm Jay Hood Jackson and this is Look Today. In tonight's program, I'm on location at Gaffney's Restaurant. I sit down with John Baker, he's the owner, and we're joined by Dina Levine, she's the manager of the restaurant. They're there and we're here to talk about Gaffney's participation in the upcoming New England Chowder Fest. That's after winning Saratoga's annual Chowder Fest for the 4th year in a row. Plus, I also sit down with Cheryl H. Perez. She's the executive director of the Saratoga County RPC. She's here to talk about the Malta 5K race that's going to raise funds for programs to help our military veterans. Plus, we've got your weather for the Tri-North counties. But first, these headline stories. Well, in our lead story, the Glens Falls Open Door Mission will move into its new home on Warren Street. The planning board approved renovations to the old furniture store. New spaces will be made for a soup kitchen as well as a code blue shelter. Now, the plan was approved 4-2, and funding will come from grants and fundraising. Well, we spoke to Kim Cook. She's the executive director of the Open Door Mission.
We're under contract and now we're approved by the City Planning Board for 226 Warren Street. Everyone here knows it as Warren Furniture. And we're going to be renovating that building and moving in to have a larger soup kitchen and just much more in the way of supportive services. There will be a drop-in center for people to hang out during the day, but then we'll be able to give them programs to get into. And there will be a resource center for learning and some computer skills, and then of course a men's shelter upstairs. So we're very excited about all the new options that we'll have for programs.
This move means a lot to Kim and the Open Door Mission. Congratulations. In other news, well, we've got an update on the Strand Theater in Hudson Falls. A closing date on the former Kingsbury Town Hall has been pushed back, further delaying the opening of the Strand Theater. Now, the Town Hall is in the process of moving from its old location, the Strand, to Michigan Street. Now, once the old Town Hall closes, Jonathan Newell and his team will purchase the building for $175,000 from the town. Currently, they are trying to close for next week. When the sale goes through, the old offices will be taken out of the building, and guess what? A new stage will be built. Well, we spoke to Jonathan about updates on the project.
Well, we're going to be able to bring things into the Strand Theater that there's no other space like this for the whole region, really. It's the size of it and the intimacy of it and the types of acts, the variety of acts that we can put on in there. It's going to be amazing for the whole region, not just the community.
Well, switching from news to weather, today saw a lot of sunshine. Talk about Indian summer. The temperatures were back into the mid-80s. Well, let's see how the rest of the week is shaping up. For a more detailed look at our weather, we're going to head to the Glens Falls Weather Center for a look at your first forecast. And back to the news. Well, we apologize for having to report on this next story. Two-car head-on collision left one person dead and another hospitalized. The crash occurred early this morning on Dewey's Bridge Road in Fort Anne. The Fort Anne Fire Department responded. Investigation is still ongoing as the cause of the accident is still unknown. Well, we spoke to Kevin Lovely. He's the chief of the Fort Anne Fire Department.
We caught a two-car motor vehicle accident. We're transporting one patient this time. We do have a fatality on scene. The state police are conducting their investigation this time, waiting for the accident reconstruction team, at which time they'll do their thing and we'll hopefully be able to open the road within a few hours. But until then, Dewey's Bridge Road will be closed indefinitely until the scene is cleaned up.
Condolences go out to that person's family. In other news, Well, under new state legislation, schools in New York State are now required to test their drinking water for lead contamination. School districts will have to report the results to parents as well as state officials. Elementary schools will have until the end of this month to do their testing. Up next, I'm on location at Gaffney's restaurant, Saratoga, where I sit down with John Baker. He's the owner, and we're joined by Dina Levine. She's the manager of the restaurant. We're here to talk about Gaffney's participation in the upcoming New England Chowder Fest. That's after winning Saratoga's annual Chowder Fest for the 4th time in a row. Plus, I also sit down with Cheryl Hage Perez. She's the executive director of the Saratoga County RPC. She's here to talk about the Malta 5K race that's going to raise funds for programs to help military veterans in our area. But first, if you've seen who's happening, you want to share a story idea, how about join us for an interview? Give us a call on the hotline. The number is 798-8000. Hello. Okay, that's all the time we have for this edition of Look Today. We're running a little tight on time, so I've only got time for one quick lookout. Has to do with my glasses again. When I had my regular glasses, everybody around here would make fun of me because I looked like I was auditioning for The Matrix because they would change darker underneath the lights. So I find these that are 20 years old now. Everybody around here is making fun of me like I look like an old Harry Potter. So tonight on Look TV, it's a Saratoga City Council meeting. And don't forget, you can tune in tomorrow night for the stories that matter to you. Expecto Patronus. Good night, everyone.